Okay, so this is a quick video tutorial walking through the next steps of working with the point cloud as an underlay. And what we are going to do is to begin to build up some of the details around the front entry on AME Church. And that's going to establish how everything is going to come together around the rest of the building. So first thing that we need to do is set up a slightly different way to view the point cloud. You can come in and select your point cloud, hide it in a view, and sort of turn that off and on. But it's a lot easier to just go ahead and duplicate a couple of views and have that set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhide the point cloud again that I just hid. So let's click hide and reveal, left click select, unhide and view element. And I am going to duplicate this 3D view. So we'll go duplicate view, duplicate. I'm going to right click on that and rename this view to point cloud. Then I'm going to duplicate this view and right click and rename this to no point cloud. So in the no point cloud view, I'm just going to select, right click and hide the point cloud. And now I have a point cloud version and a no point cloud version that I can just toggle back and forth between. And it's a lot easier to see what we're building when that point cloud isn't in the way. We can see the sort of cleaned up view as well as a view with the point cloud. So what we're going to do next is work on this front porch kind of area at the entry of AME Church. So if I go to my ground level floor plan, I can zoom in and I can go to architecture, component, and model in place. And now so I'm using this church as a method of teaching some of the key early learning BIM elements. And one of those is architectural components. So there might be some better ways to do this, but when you are learning a piece of software like Revit, learning some of the core tools of which is model in place components, it's a really, really good way to sort of build those things up, and you'll see that happen. And again, speaking of learning Revit, when you are building up the software, when you are learning it, when you're doing custom components, select generic models. As you get more advanced, you'll start placing them in specific things, but the generic models is the place to start. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And then accept generic models. One is the name. And what I'm going to do is build this lower piece right here, and we will duplicate that on both sides as an extrusion. And so this is going to be an extrusion coming up from the ground plane view. So I want this to be symmetrical, so I'm going to start with a line right from the midpoint of this wall. And so that's going to go up 5 feet. It is going to go out 8 feet, up 2 feet, and then back to the wall. And then I'm going to trim these lines together. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select that rectangle that I just built and mirror it again off of the midpoint of that wall. Again, keeping everything symmetrical. So I know the height of that is going to be 4 feet. And so if we look at that in 3D, so let's go to the no point cloud version, you can see where those are at. When I green checkbox, it's going to extend those up 4 feet. If I verify that versus the point cloud, you'll see where those are working, that those are working together, okay, in terms of building the correct height based off of what we're seeing in the point cloud. And some of this is scaffolding. This building's under renovation right now, so you kind of have to look and see exactly what we're merging with. So the next thing that I want to build are these columns that are coming up, and I'm definitely going to simplify them a bit, but we'll build those again off of there we go. We'll build those off of the top of these. So again, I'm in my non-point cloud version. I am still editing this component. So I'm going to go create, extrusion, and this time I want to set my reference plane as the top of this wall. So I'm going to go Set, pick a plane, OK, and I'm going to select the top edge. I'm going to use my rectangle tool this time, and I'm just going to go back corner, and I am just going to select someplace out in here. I'm not terribly concerned about where, because I'm going to modify that as it comes together. And I'm just going to set that up as 3 feet 6 inches. I know that that extends up 14 feet. And at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and look at my level 1 plan this time. I'm going to select that object, and I'm going to mirror that again. I'm going to find my center point of that wall, and we'll mirror that right from that location. And you can see how that is lining up with that upper level column. Let's go back to my 3D view of my non-point cloud so we can see that come together. Green checkbox. So I have that. If I verify that again against my point cloud, you can see I have those coming together. Looks like I'm just a pinch short, but I'm just going to go ahead and go with that. Eventually, I should be building my concrete caps for the top of that masonry, but we'll just stick with what we have right there. So I'm going to go next back to my no point cloud version, and let's build that stair system that's happening right here. And again, those are poured in place concrete steps. So I could exit out and use the stair tool to build those, but sometimes it's easier to actually build the stairs with a custom component. So I'm going to go create, extrusion. I'm going to set my reference plane to the inside edge of this wall. And I'm going to draft out the section of the stairs. So in this case, I've already measured those stairs. They go up 8 inches and back 12 inches. And yes, that is a code violation. This is an older building. It'll be okay. Right? So I've got that coming together as my stair profile, and I can keep drafting that angle out, or I can also just select and copy to build the stair like that. And then I'm going to close this off, and I'm going to trim those last 2 pieces together. Then I just need to extend those 2 things out. I'm just going to use the grip and lock that to the inside edge. So that's how that porch shapes out. And again, if we verify that against the point cloud, you'll see that that is spot on with what those steps are doing. And the last thing that I need to do is build that little roof piece. So again, let's go to the no point cloud version to get it started. So I'm going to go create, extrusion, and this time the reference plane needs to be this wall. So I'm going to go set, pick a plane, and I'm going to select that wall. From there, let's go to the west elevation, where we can see that roof piece right here. I'm going to set up that wall, so I'm drafting essentially on that west wall. So I'm going to go up to the top of that roof. It looks like it's 2 feet 6 above. I'm going to go over. It looks like this is stretching out right about 8 feet. And I've pre-measured the height of that as 1 foot 6 inches. So then this line comes across 16 feet. And I just need to create that vertical line up so that I can trim those 2 pieces together and then delete my center line. So right now that's set to extend out 14 feet. I believe the exact number is 5 feet. So we'll set up that to extrude out 5 feet away from the wall. And that sets up the baseline. You can see how that's lining up with that point cloud. That's setting up the base for that particular roof piece that's protecting the front entry. So let's go ahead and say finish model, and let's look at that in the no point cloud version and see a few additional things to clean up. So you see Revit is not building this set of lines right across here. So I do want to do one more piece of work, and that is use the join tool to join those columns to that roof. And if you'll notice, it's not doing that because I need to be inside of this family, right? So the join tool is not going to work until I'm editing that family. So to do that, I'm going to select, I'm going to go edit in place. And so I'm seeing these as individual pieces again. And now I can go join. My roof piece needs to join to the columns. And now I'm seeing those lines across here. And I actually want to get rid of this line. So this base wall needs to be joined to those column pieces. And you can see that's cleaned up all of that geometry and has it looking quite a bit better. So now I'm going to do finish model. And now I'm back to my overall Revit model and I'm ready to add in the next set of details.